Justin,
Yes, sir.
good to catch up again, man. Guys, I just want to set the table here. Me and Justin, I believe we met about 4 years ago. We think so alike. We always said, man, if we can come up with ways where we find alignment and collaborate on a project and team up and partner up, I think we can accomplish much, much more than what we're doing ourselves. We actually found a way where we're about to go into partnership together. Our relationship here, if you look at running a business basically fall into three categories. Right? You have a startup phase, you have a growth phase, then you have a scale up phase. So in our relationship, my focus is helping business owners or entrepreneurs with clarity. So I'm very big on that. I spent the last 10 years working on clarifying my life. Make sure you have the right blueprint. If that is not in place, then scalability won't even work. So we're basically working with someone from the startup phase, growth phase, and scale up phase. And what Justin will bring massively on the table is helping a business owner with scaling. How can you move from startup growth and scaling without getting stuck in one spot? And I think that is the relationship that we're going to bring into a business owner life. We just kind of want to have a conversation here, me and Justin, to give a little bit context and to share a little bit about our lives, where we've been up to, who we are, and how we can help you as a business owner in terms of growing and building and scaling your business. What we're shooting for is for you watching to come to a point where you relate to who we are and you just see genuine, authentic, like, I can actually work with these guys. I think these two guys can help me out. That is what our goal is. So we're gonna have a conversation. I will ask Justin few questions in terms of, the expertise that he's going to bring into your lives and your business. And I'm probably going to share a little bit about my life and also what I will bring on the table. Hopefully that will align with you, that will relate to you, and that would be relevant to you. And we both work together and help you build business and just impact life. That's sort of where we're aiming at. Justin, we're finally here.
We are. It's taken us a while.
It'll be a while. So I was so excited last time when we had the last coffee, and I think I shared about three different business concepts with you. There's some sort of alignment to one angle, but we find like, let's keep talking, let's keep having the conversation.
Yeah.
And a few weeks back, we just kind of came to alignment where like, okay, I think this consulting business we are building is perfect if we team up and work together. We are both corporate guys. I've worked in IT, corporate IT, business and sales for about 10 years. You work much, much longer. You actually, been a CTO. If you look at corporate hierarchy, CTO is basically right up there. You manage like technology, just big stuff. And I will let you share a little bit about your background. Why are you transitioning away from corporate IT into more entrepreneurship, helping other businesses? Just give a little bit about your background, like in terms of your career. You have very intensive career. What your career been like, and how did you kind of started to shift your focus more into AI, something you're going to help a lot with the business owners, and scaling. What shifted? What changed?
Digest, I started out as a software developer in the early days. I then got really knowledgeable about networking, so that gave me a really good understanding of how the internet worked, And then, in the last sort of 15 years, building software and helping businesses build software has sort of been my focus. And as we know, right, software is eating the world, right? So every business is touched by software in some way. So, so I think the shift from let's call it a standard role and a standard job into entrepreneurship, I think has been a really interesting one because with the advent of AI, about 18 months ago, ChatGPT came out, and
That changed everything, right?
it changed the game. And you have to ask the question, why is that? And that is because it made this technology very accessible to everyone. So, no longer did you need to be a propeller head or a Deb Boffin to be able to get access to this technology. And one of the things that we are already seeing very, right now is, I think businesses are really struggling to figure out how to get on board. There's a lot of interest and there's a lot of curiosity, but I think having a method and an approach and a methodology to actually get on board, I think a lot of businesses are struggling with it because there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of hype, and I think the hype can be overhyped and underhyped in the same vein. So I think that's a really important thing to note. So, I bring a lot of technical leadership to the table. If you give a business a clear path of, like a tactical roadmap on how to get on board, I think that's something that every business is looking for, and that's sort of where myself and my co-founder for my business Intelgo AI, that's where that came from. Is that we want to try and give businesses a very clear, practical, easy way to get on board.
One of my favorite book is Entrepreneurial Myth. What he talk about is, I think that guy, he spent his life trying to help small business owners work on their business. Most business owners, the way I found, they have the challenge where they went in the business with the passion to do a particular thing, but they end up basically get consumed by doing all the things within the business where it just kind of drain them, and you know it's just not fun. So the idea here is you're helping businesses to work on their business. Can you elaborate on that, how AI can, how the system you're helping the business with, how would that help business owners work more on their business rather than in?
Look, it's a good question, and I think that I think the important thing to remember is the problem space is the same, right? So what are we trying to do? We're trying to solve business problems and customer problems. It just so happens that the tools that we now have in our toolbox are way more sophisticated and quote unquote intelligent, which we could go down a very big rabbit hole on that. But anyway, so I think that it's interesting because businesses actually get wowed more by automation than they do AI, because automation has been around for years, like 10 plus 20 plus years. So, but when you augment automation with the capability of AI, you start to see these amazing opportunities to streamline, good chunks of the business. So, meeting summaries and draft emails to customers, and we've talked about lead generation to cold call scripts, and doing market research and things like that. A lot of that can be broken down into procedures, and then parts of that can be actually quite confidently delegated to AI. So one of the core philosophies of the way that we want to run our business is, AI is an augmentation of human capability. So our main line is augment human potential. So it's how do we leverage AI to make us better at what we do, more productive and more efficient.
Yeah, awesome. I'm not very AI savvy, and I'm learning a lot from Justin, and he's helping me implement it into my other businesses. And just the passion and the depth of knowledge that he have into, helping, other businesses save time, save money, and just kind of help their business run more efficiently. It's actually very
I think
amazing.
one of the challenges, businesses see it as it's too big a task to take on. And I think the thing to really try and understand is it is actually quite easy to get on board with, a lighter touch to start with, until you get comfortable with how the technology works and the approach. So, literally the very first step is no different to, and I was talking to an old colleague yesterday, what do you do when you onboard a new staff member? You proceduralize the job that they do, and you give them instruction on how to do that. To bring AI into the business and to operationalize AI in business, it's the same thing. You you codify that experience into procedures, and then you just appropriately delegate to AI parts of that process that you are confident it is going to do a good job. So you can get started really easily. Like you don't need heaps of technology. You don't need heaps and heaps of training. You just need the appetite and the curiosity to start and to experiment. The experimentation is the most important part. You've got to be willing to have a play with the stuff to try and understand how to interface with it well. And then once you start getting a feel for that, you go, oh man, I can use it for this and with this process. And suddenly you start getting these, potentially automation flows where you've done 6 steps in isolation, but then you realize you can join them together in a workflow.
Yeah.
And that's where the automation comes from.
Let's say somebody's watching and they're like, that sounds good. If a business owner say, I actually do want to learn more, what is your onboarding process?
So
How-
look, I think the very first step is just a conversation. Like we have a link on our website which enables you just to book a half-hour advisory call. No obligation. We basically like to talk to businesses to see the kinds of challenges that they have. The fears they have. How do I get started? Those kinds of things. And then if we engage with a customer, then we go through what we call the discovery phase, discovery and assessment. And we have this idea of AI maturity, and AI maturity has like 5 dimensions in our minds. There's ethics, there's literacy, there's workforce augmentation. So how do you augment uh, your business? Strategy, and I've gone blank. Let me just quickly check my notes.
See, technology guy. If you can't remember, you just outsource your mind to technology.
And what we call leadership cultivation. So that's about creating a nucleus of champions within the business who oversee the experimentation and adoption of AI, and they become sort of a resonance points for sharing out with the business. Oh, I've learnt this, so that you don't have your whole workforce sort of randomly going out, doing things. You have this really guided group, and we actually play facilitation to that group in businesses to help guide them. Well, what's the next step? Where should we focus?
So another thing we want to talk about is, the type of client we prefer to work with. Obviously, you can't serve everybody. What sort of client you reckon would make more sense in terms of working with them?
Yeah, like I think it's the same as any kind of transformation, right? I think businesses who have a level of curiosity and appetite. So it's really just about having a level of appetite and realizing that you've got to get on board. You've got to get on board because the box is open, right? And you can't put it back in the box. So it won't be a competitive advantage. It'll just be the me. And any business that doesn't look to leverage it in some fashion, again, you can take it as far as little as you like, but I think getting general knowledge around how this can be impactful to the business is really important.
Yeah, we're emphasizing on AI here, but what we are doing here is beyond just AI. It's helping you overall in your business, but AI is a big part of what Justin bring on the table. Whether this makes sense to you or not, you definitely want to get your head around the AI because it's changing thing.
Yep.
And if you're not putting your mind to it to at least learn the basic of it, you might be left behind.
So I think
Would it not be the truth?
absolutely, and I think the really important part is the mental model that we've had as to how work is done, and with that mental model has been in place for 100 plus years. That mental model needs to be redefined because the capabilities that we have just changes the way we do work. And it's important to understand that capability. So I'm working with a client at the moment where we're just doing general AI literacy. So we're teaching people how to use ChatGPT, teaching people how to interface with this technology, generative AI well. And they had a project that was in flight and they paused it because they realized the way that they were going was not the right direction given what they'd learned in the workshops.
Yeah.
So now we're not necessarily going to fundamentally change the way the outcome of the project, but even that I think is an amazing sort of outcome where they've started to think, well, hang on, having a spreadsheet to do this thing is probably not the best idea now that we know that this stuff is capable.
Yeah.
So it's I akin it to the quantum physics has this sort of concept of a watched event changes the outcome of the event. So I think if you are at least have a good grounding in the capabilities, I think the way that you think about things changes, and that I think that sets you on a better trajectory. So
Yeah. In terms of the working relationship, do we help people through Zoom? Do we help people by actually going to their workplace? Or, like, what's the best option that we want to help people?
so
I understand right now, one of the client, you go once a week. And, I work with a lot of clients where I also go to their location if they're based in Brisbane. But obviously, if you are in other states, so what's your thought?
yeah, so look, I think I think the one thing COVID did for us was make us enabled to do any job, any process in our space anyway, remotely, remotely or on site. So I think it's really down to the business's need. Personally, I love being on site. I love doing workshops with tangible things like whiteboards and things like that. But we've done sessions with customers in Melbourne and Sydney, and over Meet and Zoom.
Yeah.
So we cater for all options.
Cool. Well, that sort of comes down to when we have a conversation and looking at your needs and what best. Just in closing, guys, we just kind of wanted to have a bit of a chat here, a discussion. So what we'll do from here, if this relate to you or resonate with you in any ways, like Justin was saying before, just reach out and so we can have a conversation, get better acquainted, because that's the only way to move forward, is to get better acquainted, know your situation, what you need help with. Sometimes you may not even know what you need help with, but by having a conversation, you just go like, I didn't even thought of that. Even when you look at the most successful people, they always look for perspective from either coach or a mentor or a consultant. It'll just help you see things you might not consider.
And I think the important thing too is that this space is evolving so quickly. Even we're learning. So the more conversations we can have around the need that businesses have got, the better attuned we can be to help be impacted.
100%. I haven't really shared much in detail about myself. I might record that in another time. I wanted you guys to meet both of us together, having a conversation. For you that want to learn more, just reach out and we can, talk further in that, learning about your life, and more questions will be answered. Okay. Any
Thanks,
any
man.
closing remark?
No, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Justin.
Thank you, man.